Howdy friendos, I'm TheKrazyJason and welcome to my weekly update where I talk about my recent acquisitions on DVD and Blu-ray. This week I have nothing but Blu-rays. But before we get started, I just gotta say, it's been a hell of a week for Blu-ray shopping, no? If you were able to participate in the Blockbuster 99-cent sale, and I feel sorry for those of you who weren't. I got a lot of comments that, there weren't Blockbusters in your area, and that sucks. That really does. I would suggest this, though, that there are rumors of another sale coming the weekend of July 4th or Father's Day, or both. I don't know. But I would pay close attention, and if that sale comes around, I would widen your area. In other words, 100-mile radius might be worth it to you to drive for 99-cent Blu-rays, especially if you're going to drop 30 to 40 bucks for 30 to 40 titles. You might consider widening the area of how far you would consider driving to go to a Blockbuster. That being said, I realize that a lot of you live in areas where even a 100-mile drive won't get you to a Blockbuster that's selling them, and that does suck. But wow, I mean, I've got a stack of Blu-rays over there. It's just, I haven't had time to think about it. Haven't even had time to do the ritual on most of these to put them in proper cases. And another thing before we get started. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a sneak preview of this coming Monday's field trip. OJ's back. And since he wasn't able to participate Monday, I called around and we got really lucky. Anderson was the only store left out of all the stores I went to. It was the only store that still had 99-cent Blu-rays. So we hightailed it up there, and if you saw my field trip video from this past Monday, if you haven't seen it, go check it out, because that's where I got the big-ass haul of Blu-rays. But I did a rant in that video about people nitpicking different discs out of seasons of TV shows. I could have come away with 4 discs out of 6 for Band of Brothers, but stupidly, instead of doing that, I was just angry. I don't know, it was 100 degrees out there, it gets to your brain. So this time I was like, I'm going to get any disc I see, I'm going to get. They only had 2, so I got disc 2 and disc 3 of Band of Brothers. Oh, that blocks the sun nicely. God, I need to get some diffusion up there. Look at that. Damn. Yeah, disc 2 and disc 3. So here's what I'm asking. If any of you out there picked up random discs from Band of Brothers, specifically to trade, which is a smart idea, shoot me a PM and I'll give you a list of Blu-rays I'm willing to trade in return. So that's that. Now on to the movies. First up, the A-Team. I couldn't do it. I couldn't finish this movie. This is rare. It's been a long time since I've had to take a movie out. I got to the scene where they were being dishonorably discharged from the military, and I realized that is when things are really going to start kicking in. But I just couldn't do it. I could not do the shaky cam with all the extraneous atmospheric noises and other voices murmuring and shouting all around me. I don't get it. And it's a real shame, because I think the script was actually pretty good as far as I could discern from all the distractions of the camera and the noise. There seemed to be some, good dialogue. But unfortunately, I couldn't understand, what it was, because it was fucking shaking around like that, and, I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to look at the character, I'm trying to gather what the character's saying, and there's all this noise, and it cuts away as soon as he's done saying it, and it's just all of a sudden another character saying something, and boom, it cuts away, and it's just the camera's a fucking mess, man. I'm just tired of trying to understand why. Why? You know, that they have short attention span. I have a short attention span, you know. I've got ADD. Everybody has ADD, all right? So, you know, I don't get this. I don't understand how anyone from 8 to 80 could sit in a theater chair and watch a movie. That scene, that shot is too still, and I can understand what the character is saying too clearly. I'm bored. I'm out of here. I don't like this movie. You know, I don't. I know. I guess they've done studies that the shaky and all the noise. I don't know. I guess I don't know what the fuck to say. I mean, what do you give me some input? Do people? Does that do something? They don't give a shit about a script or anything. They just want crazy visuals, like babies, you know? Babies seeing a bunch of colors and things and shiny things moving around and a bunch of noise. I mean, just put up fucking Nickelodeon shows up there, I guess. Jesus Christ. If indeed there is an audience that they are targeting and that shit is working, then we do live in a dumb land, I guess. I'm sorry for that rant. Anyway, I'm going to jettison this Blu-ray, but if you think it's worth it for me to calm down and take another look at it, then I will. Because I've done it before and then I've come to enjoy the movie. And I don't want to get rid of it if it actually ends up being a good movie, so let me know. Alright, next up, 2012. Big Roland Emmerich, however you pronounce his last name, disaster flick. He of The Day After Tomorrow and Independence Day and Stargate. Like Michael Bay, he sort of designed his own genre. This is very much like The Day After Tomorrow, in that in The Day After Tomorrow they were literally outrunning the ice as it was chasing them around. In this movie, they're outrunning the earth as it's cracking open and falling about them, and buildings and shit, water. I mean, it's got everything. Alright, here's the thing. When I saw this in the theater, I hated it, and not for reasons that you may think. You know, I actually really wanted to see this movie because I really enjoy conspiracy theories. I really do. Especially 2012. Anything involving 2012, books, documentaries, movies, I enjoy them. But when you go to the theater these days and you pay $11, you know, if you're seeing it by yourself, or if you're taking someone, you're going to pay, you know, $22 or whatever, and then you get a tub of popcorn, that's $28, a couple of drinks, you're up to $36.50 or whatever, you know, basically $40. And when you pay that kind of money, you know, your expectations are pretty fucking high no matter what you're watching. I tell you, what bothered me was finding out that John Cusack was a writer. It was very confusing. He was just a novelist. I thought that John Cusack was a writer who had written a book about 2012, and the scientist was going to recognize him, and they were going to get together and they were going to combine their knowledge, his of the mythology of 2012 with the scientist's knowledge of what's going on with the Earth. No. John Cusack just wrote some novel, and he's just a poor schlub who drives a limo. It was so disappointing to me. But okay, now, you know, it's months later. You know, I bought this for, I think this was one I bought for $4 because I knew there's some movies that I know I'm gonna enjoy again on Blu-ray. Enjoyed the hell out of it. The Blu-ray looks great. The sound is great. You know, you're gonna be surprised, but I just enjoy the CG effects. you know, I enjoy it for what it is now. So that's that. Next up, Dumb and Dumber, which I was really excited. That sun is a bitch, isn't it? I was really excited to get this on Blu-ray. I don't know why. I don't know. But I was disappointed. It's not really that much of an upgrade over the DVD. Not much at all. Just tiny, you know. Nothing really stands out. There doesn't seem to be a lot of depth. Colors are not popping. I don't know. It's just weak. However, I was able to make my DVD Blu-ray combo pack and finally get rid of another one of these shitty snapper cases. So that was a good upgrade. If you haven't seen Dumb and Dumber, I don't know what to say. It's just a silly ass movie. Jim Carrey at like the apex of his silly time. He really doesn't make movies like this anymore. Jeff Daniels, I was a bit incredulous because I watched Gettysburg a few weeks ago and realized that Gettysburg came out at around the same time as this movie did. How can you know, I can't remember if he's Harry or he's Lloyd. No, yeah, Lloyd Christmas. How can you forget a name like that, Lloyd Christmas? How can Jeff Daniels play Harry and then play Colonel Chamberlain or whatever his name was in Gettysburg? I don't know. Whoa. Shit's happening today, folks. Next up, Devil. Yeah, this surprised me. I had heard a lot of, you know, there was a lot of shit reviews about this movie. Or maybe I just read all the wrong ones. But this was actually a really good psychological thriller with supernatural elements. Obviously, Devil. But you've got these 5 people trapped in an elevator, and you know one of them is evil. One of them's the devil. That's no secret. I'm not giving anything away. So throughout the movie, I was pretty much riveted. The ending was a little weak. I don't know if it was just kind of a weak third act. I don't know if it was the final scene of the film that was unsatisfying to me. I don't know if it was the editing. I'm not sure exactly what it was. It ended and I felt kind of unsatisfied. Didn't ruin the movie for me though. I'm on the fence. I think I'm probably going to trade her. I'm going to treat this as a rental. That's the thing about a lot of these that I got at the Blockbuster sale, the 99 centers. I'm trading them as rentals, and I may trade or sell it. I haven't decided yet. Yet another thriller that I may trade or sell, or I may keep, and that is The New Daughter, Kevin Costner. Basically, he plays a recently divorced father of 2. He has like a 7-year-old son, and then he has a teenage daughter. And they move to this house in rural South Carolina, in the Low Country. And one of the reasons why I'm going to hang on to this is because it was actually shot, some of it was shot in Charleston, and the bulk of it was shot in and around McClellanville. And I've spent some time in McClellanville, and the Low Country of South Carolina here is some of the most beautiful, exotic country you will see. This is not really a showpiece for the Low Country like a lot of films that were shot here are, but still, it lent the right atmosphere that I like to thrillers. I'm thinking movies like Sleeping with the Enemy. That was shot in the Low Country. It just something about the location lends itself to these kinds of thrillers. But this is different because this has creatures in it, so it's a thriller, but it's also a horror film. The strange thing is, it had that nice feel of a cheesy thriller throughout, and then at the end it kind of switched to a horror film, even though you knew there were creatures. I got to give it this. For a Hollywood film, fucking ballsy. The ending is grim. I mean, really grim. And so I'll give it that. As far as the PQ is concerned, I give it a 4 out of 5. And the reason for that is, May not be the transfer. I haven't decided if it's the transfer or the source, but especially towards the end when the scenes are really dark, there's a lot of noise, and then there's a lot of grain, and I can't, some of it looks like video noise, and then a lot of it looks like film grain. So I looked up the tech specs, and it was shot on a high-speed Super 35mm film. And that was so that they could shoot in really dark scenes with just very minimal light. So it can bring out the most awful looking grain. So whatever the case may be, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. The rest of the film looked nice though, looked really great. Of course, new movies, there's no excuse for them really not to look good on Blu-ray, in my opinion. As far as the features, it's got an audio commentary, and it's got a documentary called The New Daughter Behind the Scenes, which is the shittiest featurette I have ever seen. It looks like it was shot on a high camera from 1996. It's worse looking than any YouTube video I have ever seen. It's on a Blu-ray. This movie came out in 2009, and the featurette is not in high definition. It's in standard definition, and not only that, it looks horrible. I mean, the people they're filming, they're just, it looks like a camcorder, like a lost VHS tape from 1989. I don't know what to say. Then the scenes from the movie that were inserted into the little documentary, the aspect ratio was just all over the place. Sometimes it would be correct, sometimes it would be squeezed. It doesn't fucking matter. It's like any one of us out here could have edited together a better featurette than what they put on here. It's unfathomable. But you know what? I say this is a good renter. Good pickup. Good fun. Good fun for the whole family. Not really. Speaking of good fun for the whole family, Orphan. Yes, Orphan. Now this is right down my alley. This is the kind of dark psychological thriller that I like. When you have a family, and it's kind of like The Stepfather, except this is much better than The Stepfather. You have someone in the family, something's wrong with them, or you bring a new element into the family, and something's wrong. This and these other movies are what I'm into right now. I don't know why. I'm having a hard time watching anything really heavy or serious. I'm really into fluff right now, or I'm into horror or thrillers. But this movie, basically, yeah, you have an adopted. It's the evil kid genre, which has a long, venerable history, obviously. And this has quite the twist ending. And the cool thing is, at least for me, watching it the second time was even more enjoyable. Knowing what she is made it even creepier watching it. And for those of you who have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, picture quality is great. Nice muted colors. A lot of dark shadows in the house. So yeah, I give the picture quality and the audio 4.5, and I give the movie itself a 4.5. High marks. This is better than your average thriller. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that this is a great renter, but if you can find it for $5 or even $7, it's worth a buy. The last movie, and certainly not least, as per usual, Inside Man. That's right. Now this is definitely worth a buy. This is one of the greatest heist films of all time, and my personal favorite, because I'm not a big fan of the heist genre. But what I like in movies like Dog Day Afternoon is the hostage part of a heist gone wrong. This is not a heist gone wrong. Clive Owen tells you in the beginning of the movie that he's conducting the perfect bank robbery. And you know from the outset, and again, I'm not giving anything away, I'm not going to say anything else, but everything about this movie is great. extraordinary script, stellar cast, great directing, editing, and you know, this is a Spike Lee joint, but it's his most, I would say, accessible film as far as it's just pretty much a Hollywood type film. As you know, Spike Lee's movies are usually have some sort of social message involved. This one had, some things like some funny scenes that you could tell that this was directed by Spike Lee. Other than the extraordinary visual style that he has, that's just fucking awesome. It's, Scorsese-like. But this is really one of Spike Lee's best films. I cannot give this movie enough praise. The PQ, there's just this very thin layer of film grain, just enough to let you know you are watching a film. And so across the board, I give the thing a 5. 5, 5, 5. Movie, PQ, audio. It's got a feature commentary with Spike Lee that I haven't gotten a chance to listen to yet. 20 minutes of deleted scenes. The making of, and number 4. And that goes into, because this is the 4th collaboration between Spike Lee and Denzel Washington. Speaking of Denzel Washington, I could watch that man in anything. He's one of those actors. He's one of those few actors that no matter what the movie is, kind of like Paul Newman. It's like no matter what the movie is, I'm going to enjoy it just because Paul Newman's in it. I'm going to enjoy that. Not to say that this movie is just good because of Denzel Washington. I mean, you've got Clive Owen, Jodie Foster. Who else? You've got Willem Dafoe in a uncharacteristically understated role. Christopher Plummer is great as always. Great twists. More than one twist. Just damn, this is a great film. This is the dictionary definition of a badass movie. That's what I got to say about that. So, that is it for my weekly roundup. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.